Nigerian community here is totally very angry. Thank you very much for our
was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools to make your academic education as government college to Delhi. And
go gather, destroy their food. Make the camp and that other camp, Chungong camp, you compensate everybody. But some of
sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.C. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point Akmo dancing.
It's something that needs to be exploited. Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are lives that are meaningful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. You know, after some of these earthly adventures and more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet. Good day, thank you very much for talking to people, places and events and to the African Center for Community and Development. What is your name, sir?
I am Chief Chungong Ndifor.
And you come from which part of Cameroon?
I hail from the north region of Cameroon, northwest region of Cameroon. To be more precise, Bamedakwe Council.
And what is the name of your village?
My village is Bamendakwe.
Now, let's start with history. Can you give me a brief history of your village and your people?
The Bameddakwe people, as it is said by hand-down facts from our ancestors, they hail from the Tikari tribe, coming from the northern part of Cameroon. Because of intertribal wars, they made their way from very long journeys up to the point that they are at the present situation, the present site. The present site is a chosen site based on the fact that they were blacksmiths. Most of the men were blacksmiths and the women were good farmers. So for the search of wood and coal, they had to relocate from Nkwen. They moved up to the present site where you have the station, but present Bamedakwe Council.
Now, what are the cultural institutions of the people of Bamendakwe? What are the things that stand out when you're talking about the Bamendakwe man?
The Bamedakwe man, first of all, I would like to appreciate. They are commonly called charcoal burners because they use the coal in producing knives, spears, guns, and other weapons which were commonly used by the Tikari tribes in terms of acquisition of land and intertribal wars. So they are powerful warriors. They are also good in agriculture. I think they are the brain basket of the Northwest in respect to Irish potatoes and beans. We also have other crops which we produce in Bamedakwe Council, like the North Huckleberry. We have plantains, banana, cocoyams which we use in preparing achu, and other things. We are also good in rearing cows, cattle rearing, animals like goats, pigs. If you go to Bamedakwe Council, you have a handful of people who are rearing these modern cows in respect to American, this French Mountbatten. They use it in milking the cows every morning, where people come and collect cow milk at a very low cost.
Now, in terms of the women of Bamedakwe, what stands out about the women in Bamedakwe?
The Bamedakwe woman is a very organized woman in respect to cultural activities. They come together during their farming periods. They have farming groups of 8 to 20. They farm in a form like they call it Jangi farming. You go to Madam Takwi's farm today, the next day you go to Madam Gekwi's farm. That is how they rotate. At the end of 2 months, they have gone around all their friends' farms, and they do good jobs. They also during this group farming, they also share seedlings, which help them in having good yields. They are also very humble towards their husbands.
Now, as a chief, can you tell me a little bit more about your role as a chief, how you coordinate both men and women?
Yes, in my local chiefdom, where I manage about 5 quarters, close to 2,000 subjects, it is very satisfying. You have the chief, you have his regent, you have the council of elders, who all come together and they do discuss the normal day-to-day contemporary issues of the chiefdom. They are more used to the activities of the area, and they place their women on serious farming while they do the local farming around the house in respect to cash crops like coffee. They keep animals like pigs, goats, and also small subsistence poultry farming.
Now, so people mistake the fact that when societies are very centralized like this, it means they are not democratic. But I think you have a contrary idea about this. People participate in decision making in your chiefdom. So can you try to explain on this?
I would like to differ about that fact, because a woman has a very important role in our society. They are the mothers of the house. They give the highest contribution in respect to feeding the family, in respect to sending the children to school also. So when it comes to decision making, the head of the family sits down with the wives. They commonly decide on where or whatever function a child is going to play in the family. There is very little decision that is being taken out of the woman or out of the family strata. If you look, it comes only when it's about cultural activities like the male jujus. The woman has no role to play when it comes to that. You can't call a woman to come and decide on what what role a man will play when it comes to cultural activities. But a man will determine his own role. Likewise, the women, they also have their own cultural activities, which a man doesn't decide on it. So it is very structured, well structured, that you don't talk of dictatorship. We talk of being organized. You know your role to play in the society.
Now, in terms of the greater tribe, can you tell me the various institutions that are in the fondom that are of importance to the people?
In terms of the greater tribe, where we have a fond who coordinates the village. The fond, in our dialect, we call him Mukwifo, which is the son of the government. Kokwifo is the government. And who make the government? We constitute the government. We put the fond there to be as a leader. When we sit in the conclave, in the Kwifo house, we take decisions and send the fond to pass the message to the village, informing the village that as from this period, this is what is expected of the villagers. So, come down to other bodies. We have the Kwifo, which is a government that manages the village. We have the palace, which is the head of the palace is the fond, who gives his own authority to his brothers, his wives, and his children. We also have the Tekemben, with the women's side, who manages the women's folk, what the women want, and what is good for them. They have their own leader, which is the Muhanfo. or the mother of the fawn. We have the Tabufor. The Tabufor is like the father of the fawn. He has a very important role. He sees to the day-to-day upkeep of the palace. You have the Ndifor, who is like the senior brother to the fawn and who gives the best of advice to the fawn in respect to decision taking. You have the Muma, who in the absence of the fawn, the Ndifor is there to run the palace, and in the absence of the Ndifor, the Muma takes over. So that is the strata of the palace. Then now you have the Bobumfor, that is the children of the fawn. They are the princess and the prince of the palace. We give them very high respect. They are held at very high extent because they are looked upon like the fawn, but they never had the opportunity because only one person can become the fawn at a time.
Now, when the fawn passes, it goes with a lot of celebrations and with a lot of rites and so on. So, is that part of the way the society is organized? Do people react to the passing of every fawn in the same manner?
I would say no. Our fawns, they travel to another direction. That is why, after some other generations, that fawn who traveled maybe 400 years ago is going to come back as a baby to replace the other fawn who just traveled. That is why today we have Fosufongwa the second. That is to say there was Fosufongwa the first. So Fosufongwa has come back. Our fawns, they do travel.
Now, you should be very aware of the fact that many people are complaining about the fact that the present generation is abandoning oral traditions. As a youth, you should have encountered a lot of storytelling in your life, or encountered things that could go for storytelling. Can you tell me some of the experiences you had while growing up, while living with people that you think can make good folk tales?
Yes, in respect to my society, the Bamedakwe man has a lot of stories. Stories with the Germans, stories with other Tikari tribes. With the Germans, they had a very cordial relationship because they supply weapons that the Germans needed through the Bali people to fight other villages in order to conquer them, to institute
or other states
to institute their government. With the neighboring villages, they had very cordial relationship because they look at them like very fierce people with enormous strength and artillery which they could use and defeat them at any time. So they always had good economic and traditional ties. That is why we intermarry with so many villages to ameliorate this strength and to share the gift that God gave us.
Now, but in terms of like people living with cattle, people going to their farms, I think there should be some stories that stand out in your memory about maybe an experience with an uncle or something that you can tell, you can share.
There is this myth which is commonly spoken among the old folks. They have a belief that the Lake Awing, which we have at the other side of my village, my neighboring village, Awing, had a position in my own village. And the place is there. If you go there, I bet you will see a crater which is dry. They said they never wanted that water there because they were afraid that one day the water can break from its boundary and flow down to the houses of the villagers and will cause destruction. So they pleaded to the gods, and the gods, they did transfer that lake and place it in between, at the top of that hill, in between the Bamendakwe people and the Awing people, for them to commonly use it.
Now, in terms of boundaries between the Bamedakwe people and other people, I think the Mankon and so on, some people say the boundaries, even though they are close people, sometimes they have some overlapping differences. Can you justify that?
Truly, we have a mammoth boundary with, we share a mammoth boundary with the Mankon people. we came to understand that in the 19th century, our boundary of Mancon was around Sacred Heart College, Mancon. But because they had their great fund for Nangwafo, he pushed up to the present old town, where you have the police station. There is a fig tree around the old town that divides Mancon and Bamedakwe. The other side of the road is Mancon, coming up towards the Anglo-Arabic school is Bamendakwe, climbing up towards Ayaba. You stretch towards Finance Junction and you go down to Nkwen Market, then you climb the hills. Then it goes right down to where you have Natural Comprehensive College and stretches towards Mbatu, climbs up to Akum, then falls down towards Awin, then back towards, we have a boundary, a huge boundary with Banja and the Babanki people. Now, going down south, we also enjoy a good boundary with our neighbors in Nkwen.
Now, let me ask you about the Mbangalum. What can you tell me about the Mbangalum dance?
The Mbangalum, from its name, will tell you that its origin is from the Kayaka people down in Mamfe. During the 18th century, those traders who left our areas, they moved towards Nigeria to acquire salt from Sangarati. Salt, gunpowder, and limestone, which is commonly used by our people in case of bride price and other traditional events. So we had an uncle by name Tanto. He moved far away. On his way towards the Mamfe area, he met the Belesumbo dance, being commonly danced among the Bayangi people and the Ejagan people. He admired it a lot and asked what type of dance was this. They told him it was a dance for the men, the same Baranam. So the only way which he could cram and come back with this dance, he bought the drums from the men, from Mamfe, came up with it, presented it to his father, who was Ndifonkan the first, that he has come with a dance, Mbanam. That the dance now will be for the men. So with our own traditional culture to blend what he brought in and with our war-like nature of singing, we now sing the Belesumbo in a war-like tone. That is why you see us, we sing and we are shouting, raising our spears and our guns up during the festivities in our village.
Now, in terms of farming and conservation, and in terms of climate change and so on, what advice have you to tell your people on how to resist the fallouts of climate change?
The most primordial point which we've categorically put in front of them is the idea of planting eucalyptus. We have banned the planting of eucalyptus around catchment areas. Since Bamendakwe serves like the main basin of the potable water source we have in the whole of Bamenda 1, 2, and 3 councils. So we have stopped planting of eucalyptus trees around all the catchment points. We have also stopped felling of Indian bamboos around catchment points, because these Indian bamboos are the best crops or trees that keep and reserve water during the dry season. We have also stopped, we have encouraged them in controlled grazing around this catchment area during the rainy season and dry season, so that we can maintain a good quality of water during the dry season.
Now, in terms of maize, and some people were saying that because climate change is going to affect Africa more, maybe in the future Africans will have to depend more on species that like cassava and even banana. What is your reaction to that?
I say no. because we have encouraged our people to plant pigeon plants. They are plants that keep enormous water. We plant pigeon plants side by side with maize, yams, cassava, beans, potatoes, Irish potatoes, and other type of food crops. We have not incurred any shortage of food in our village. Sometimes we farm Irish and we are unable to harvest all of it from the farms because the distances are too much. So we have enough food. So we have sufficient in respect to food.
Now, could you greet your people in your dialect and to tell them some of the things you have been saying here, so that at least they will understand their chief was on people, places, and events? Thank you very much for talking to people, places and events, and to the African Center for Community and Development. And I hope to the venue of this program, your voice will reach out to the millions.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Ivo, for having you today as a guest in one of our small palace. But by His grace, I would like to take you up to Bamedakwe. You have a good time up there. We will give you the best of the cat you have been always with.
Thank you.
And good palm wine.
I will be looking forward to drinking palm wine and eating kati. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry.
Thank you very much for the
Our representative was the country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools to make your academic education was as government college to Delhi. And
go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, Chungong camp, no compensate everybody.
generation sometimes. Today our focus will be in the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point at more dancing.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. Lives that are meaningful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures and more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary life.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.